You know, every single building you've ever been in, whether it's a tiny house or a massive skyscraper, is built on a foundation of something you can't even see. It's a shared language. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on SMM and NRM, the hidden system that makes our entire world possible. So, how does it all work? Let's get into it.
I mean, think about that for a second. It sounds completely impossible, right? How can you give someone a fair, accurate price for a project that's just a bunch of drawings on a screen? And how do you make sure that every single company bidding for that work is pricing the exact same thing? That was the huge challenge the construction industry had to solve.
It's like this. Imagine you've got a dozen chefs trying to bake the same cake. One's using ounces, another's using grams, and a few are just throwing in handfuls and pinches. You'd end up with a dozen totally different cakes, and you'd have no way of knowing which price was fair. It would be an absolute mess. Well, for the longest time, that's kind of what building was like.
And that chaotic kitchen is the perfect way to think about the problem the industry was facing. Let's call it the measurement mess.
See, before these standards came along, every single firm just measured things their own way. That meant contractors were basically guessing what was included in a price. It created a massive financial risk for them, and it made it totally impossible for clients to compare bids fairly. The whole system was built on pure uncertainty.
So, to fix this broken system, the industry needed something radical. They needed to basically invent a whole new universal language just for construction.
And here it is, the Standard Method of Measurement, or SMM, which first came out way back in 1922. It's since evolved into what we now call the New Rules of Measurement, or NRM. But don't think of these as boring rule books. Oh no, they're the industry's universal dictionary. They make sure that when one person says 1 square meter of brickwork, everybody else knows exactly what that means.
And that really gets to the core of it all. The whole point was just to get rid of the guesswork. By creating one standard, you create a common ground where the architect, the surveyor, and the builder are all on the same page every single time. No exceptions.
So, what does this language actually sound like? Let's take a look at the grammar of construction and see how a few of these key rules actually work in the real world.
Okay, so you can see right away just how logical this is. First, measure as is. That just means you measure the final product exactly as it's going to be in the finished building. No wild guesses. Second, the order is always length, then width, then height. That way, there's zero confusion. And finally, rounding rules mean no one's arguing over tiny fractions. It's all about precision.
And this is where it gets really clever, showing you the level of detail. Think about a brick wall with a small opening for a pipe. So does the builder get paid for the bricks that aren't there? The rules say yes, you don't deduct for tiny voids like that. Why? Because the time and labor it takes to cut around that little opening is actually worth more than the material you save. It's a super practical rule for how things really get built.
Now, this might just be the smartest part of the whole system. It's called the deemed to be included rule. So, when a contractor puts a price on a brick wall, they aren't just pricing the bricks. The rules deem that the price automatically includes all this other stuff: the labor, any wasted material, the cutting, even their profit. It's a brilliant idea that stops you from having endless lists of tiny items and just keeps the pricing clean and clear.
All right, so you have all these different rules and principles. They all come together to create the single most important document for pricing any construction project.
And that document is called the Bill of Quantities, or BOQ for short. The best way to think of it is as the ultimate, super detailed shopping list for the entire building. Every last item needed, all measured according to the same set of rules, is listed right there.
And that shopping list isn't just random, it has a really logical flow. It starts with the big picture costs, the preliminaries. Then it zooms into the nitty-gritty details of materials and quality. And finally, you get to the main event, the massive, itemized list of every single component, all measured in the exact same way.
So we have the rules, we have the document, but what's the ultimate payoff here? Why does all of this actually matter? Well, it's simple. It creates a truly level playing field. And you can see here, it's a win-win. For the contractors, it gives them certainty. They know exactly what they're pricing, which reduces their risk. And for the clients, it means they can finally make fair, apples-to-apples comparisons between bids. And if there's ever a dispute, the BOQ is right there as the official baseline. It just works for everyone.
And this quote just nails it. This is the heart of the whole thing. The entire system is designed to make sure everyone is working from the very same playbook. Total fairness, total transparency.
That's really the bottom line, isn't it?
It just boils down to that one simple word: fairness. It takes ambiguity out of the equation and replaces it with clarity.
So the next time you look up at a building, remember that invisible framework that made it all possible. Not the steel or the concrete, but the shared understanding. The SMM and NRM, they're the universal ruler and dictionary that allow us to imagine, to price, and ultimately to build our entire world.